See if this is working. What's going on, guys? If y'all can hear me and see me okay, go ahead and throw a thumbs up in the chat. What's up, TJ? How you doing, brother? Hope you've had a good weekend, man. You haven't been working too hard this weekend. Full House Barbecue, what's up, man? What's going on? Where are you tuning in from, Full House? Let the people know where you're tuning in from. TJ, that badge is looking good, man. That member badge is looking good. See how many people pop in the chat with a badge like that. Louisiana, okay. If I'm not mistaken, TJ's from Louisiana as well. Michael Kelly, what's going on? Just gonna let a couple more people hop in here, guys, before we get started. Yeah, TJ, I didn't want to 100% dox you and tell them exactly where you're at, man, but yeah, I used to live in Louisiana myself, actually. Lived in about an hour from Shreveport, Fort Polk, Louisiana. Thanks, Pull House. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in. That's kind of been the goal of the channel to begin with, is just to, teach people what I'm doing. And not only teach people what I'm doing, but kind of share the struggles I'm going through and some of the things, the challenges and the mistakes and things like that. Kind of be a little bit vulnerable, because you don't really see a lot of that online these days. It's just a lot of people flexing and a lot of people faking and telling you how easy it is. Like, as an example, there was all those side hustle videos on DoorDash and Uber Eats and driving for Uber and Lyft and stuff. Man, I've driven for Lyft and Uber before. There ain't nothing easy about it. There's nothing easy about that. But if you watch all these content creators, they'll tell you, man, how easy it is to drive DoorDash and Lyft and all this stuff and make, they'll say make $500 a day driving Uber. I'm going to tell you something. I've worked a 10, 12-hour shift driving Uber and Lyft before. And I don't think I made $500, man. It's a tough gig, but everybody online, whether it's in that space or it's in the barbecue space and the cooking space, in the restaurant, pop-up, food truck space, they'll tell you how easy it is and how you should get started and you don't need a lot of money to do it and things like that. And none of that stuff is true. They're just fronting and flexing for the camera, trying to get views. A lot of those people who make those side hustle videos make way more money from their views on YouTube than they are doing the actual side hustle. So I kind of wanted to be the opposite. I try to post as many videos as I can. But although I did get monetized not too long ago, I'm not making that much money on YouTube, guys. I got to get out there and sell the barbecue. But today we're going to be talking about a couple things. Unexpected expenses in your barbecue pop-up or restaurant business. We talk about bad customers. I got a really good question on my post regarding how to deal with bad customers. We're going to be talking about how to get the best cooks on your smoked meats. We're going to be talking about all of that tonight, guys. So we'll get into it. So let's start with unexpected expenses. Whatever you're budgeting for your project, you need to budget probably an extra 25 to 50%. In fact, I'd say 50%. So if you're saying, let's use round even numbers. Let's say if you are thinking it's going to cost you $10,000 to get your deal started, you need to go ahead and probably account for, you're going to need to spend 15 to 20, realistically. Because there's just things that come up in your business that are completely unexpected. Oh, we got our first troll, Miguel Marola, man. I'm going to give you one more chance. I'm gonna give you one more chance before I boot you from the chat. Go ahead, comment something else stupid. I'm gonna boot you. But yeah, you guys need to be budgeting probably 50 to even 100 times more than 100% more than what you're thinking it's going to cost you to get your deal started. So, like I said, if you're talking about if you're thinking about it's going to cost me 10 minutes to do this thing, then you need to go ahead and yeah, we're going to put you in timeout, my friend. See ya. Sorry, I had to put Miguel in timeout for a minute. No biggie. But yeah, you need to go ahead and account for 15 to 20,000 because things come up unexpectedly. Like I had a pretty good budget for the restaurant build that I was doing, and what I didn't account for was the fact that I was going to need a dedicated smoke shack. It was going to need to be real concrete floors. It was going to need to be an actual building. Got to count on ventilation, and things like that, plumbing, and then connecting it to the existing structure. Excuse me, all that stuff costs did a lot more than I thought it was going to cost. And that's kind of why it's been a delay in moving from the pop-up, which we're doing in front of the restaurant location, to actually moving 100% into the restaurant. But we're working on getting that completed. I'm thinking we're going to be fully open within the next 30 to 45 days. So whatever you're doing, if you're doing a pop-up, you're doing a food truck, you're doing an actual restaurant, you need to go in with some cash. You need to go in with a good amount of cash, and whatever you think it's going to cost you, just go ahead and double it so that you're not upset later. What's up, Keemon Williams? How you doing? Yeah, budget accordingly. Budget more than you think you're going to need because you're going to need more. 100%. 100% you're going to need more. So if you guys didn't catch the video I did maybe last week and a half ago, we just ordered a 250-gallon smoker pit from PRM Barbecue in Brookshire, Texas. All black gloss finish is going to be sweet when it's done. I can't wait. I'm expecting to take delivery of that in May, and it's going to go in that pretty smoke shack that we're building. TJ said, takes money to make money. 100%. You know, the money going out kind of sucks, but at the same time, you know, that money's being spent as an investment because I know that building it the right way, getting the right equipment, doing it right is going to make us a lot of money in the long run. And ultimately, I mean, it's replacing a job. You know, that money is being used to essentially, like I mentioned in a previous video, create a job for yourself so that you're not having to work for somebody else forever. So one of the comments I got on the post when I said we were going to do a live stream tonight was talking about bad customers. So hopefully the person who commented that is in the chat at the moment, but we're going to talk about it, bad customers. So they were talking about what do you do? How do you respond when customers are asking for refunds, or they're asking for you to lower the price because they wanted you to take something out of the recipe that maybe it was a sandwich and they wanted you to take out one of the ingredients and they wanted you to lower the price, or what do you do when customers ask for refunds or returns or things like that? Just kind of customers who aren't appreciating what you're doing. And to be honest, guys, I really haven't had any bad customers. I really haven't had any bad experience with customers doing my barbecue pop-up. Have I had bad experiences in the past with other concepts? Sure, absolutely. They're going to happen. But when it comes to kind of customers wanting returns or wanting you to lower the price on items because they took something off, that's a big no-no, guys. That's a big no-no. Those are the type of customers that you really don't want those are customers you don't want. I mean, point blank period. If you're smoking a brisket for 10, 12 hours and you know you've got people, unless the brisket just sucks, right? Unless the food just sucks. But if you know your food is great, and I say that because number one, you know what you're doing. Number two, you've tasted it and it's great. Number three, you've sold to a lot of people and you've gotten a lot of good feedback, then most likely your food is actually pretty good. And if your food is actually good and you know it's good and there wasn't actually an issue, like maybe there was an issue with the food. Sounds bad, but it happens in restaurant business. Maybe they found, I don't know, a glove in their sandwich. This sounds kind of ridiculous, right? But trust me, this happens in some restaurants. But say they found a glove in their sandwich. Absolutely. Refund it, refund them their order, get them food to go. Let them know next time they come, the food's on them. If something happens like that, there's an issue like that, take care of the customer. You want to do that. But if the food you gave them was perfect, it was cooked exactly the way it should have been cooked, it tasted exactly the way it should have tasted, and they're just trying to get their money back just because they're being cheap, absolutely not. You just tell them, hey, we take pride in what we do. We cook this brisket or these ribs, this barbecue for 10 to 12 hours. We have a limited amount of food. When we sell out, we sell out. I'm sorry, but we just don't do refunds. Okay, that's what I would tell them. And if they're upset about it and they want to go off and never come back or leave a bad review, that's on them. That's on them. But uh, I would not just be giving people's money back when they've had a perfectly good meal. Hopefully that makes sense. Like I said, if there's something wrong, like maybe they said, man, this was really dry. And you say, really? I'm so sorry about that. And then you try the brisket and it was really dry. Okay, take care of them. Say, hey, that's my bad. I apologize. We'll take care of that for you. We'd love for you to come back and try us again. When you come back, we'll get you a free chopped brisket sandwich. Or like Trumpet Master said, hey, give them a free pulled pork sandwich and send them on their way. Something like that. But don't be giving people refunds just because they're being cheap or they're griping about this or that, the other. Oh, I didn't like the barbecue sauce. Can I get a refund? No, you can't get a refund. I just gave you a premium chopped brisket sandwich and you decided to douse it in barbecue sauce and you didn't like the barbecue sauce. Sorry. I mean, maybe I'll give them an extra sandwich, but we're not returning money, guys. Because what happens is those are the type of customers who will always find an issue with something and they'll always look to be getting their money back or get something free. So I try not to give away anything for free. Now, samples, we do samples all day, every day, especially in the beginning because people don't really know how your barbecue tastes. So you want to get them a sample. And it doesn't always have to be brisket. We do a great smoked turkey, but smoked turkey isn't super popular around where I live. And so what we do is we sample a lot of smoked turkey and it ends up getting us orders by half pound or a pound of turkey because people are like, man, that's really good. That's the best turkey I've had. You know what? Add that onto my order, because if we didn't sample it out, we'd probably waste it, to be honest. Trumpet Master said, if you roll up at the lake where people have been all day, I guarantee you nobody is complaining they're going to be hungry. 100%. 100%. People need to understand the amount of work that goes into a plate they're buying. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I don't lower my prices, man. My prices are my prices. If you don't like it, then that's fine. You can go to Dickey's. You can go to one of the big chains that gives you some subpar barbecue. That's fine. But I'm not going to lower my prices because I know the work that goes into it. I know what I paid for it. And I got a brand, a reputation to uphold, and I'm just not going to lower my prices for anybody. I've lost catering gigs because people didn't want to pay the price that I was charging. You always have those people who are like, well, like as an example, if somebody wants to buy a whole brisket, okay, what we'll do is we'll cook a whole brisket. Usually when it's finished, it's usually about 8 pounds. And then we'll slice it all up. We'll give them pickles, onions, jalapenos, bread, barbecue sauce, all the fixings. And we charge $150 for a whole cooked brisket, okay? And when I tell people that, some people are, yeah, no problem. I've had orders for it. And then some people are like, well, what if I bring you the brisket and you smoke it? How much would that be? I don't do that. And I recommend you don't do that because you don't know where they're getting that brisket and the quality of it. So you're going to take a random brisket that they bought at HEB or Kroger or Walmart or wherever, and you don't know where that brisket's been. You don't know how long they've had it. You don't know if they've kept it in food safe conditions. And you don't know the quality of it. You don't know the marbling and things like that. They could tell you, oh, it's a choice brisket, it's a select brisket, it's a prime brisket, whatever. But at the end of the day, if that brisket doesn't come out the way that they think it should, then they're going to be upset with you. So I only use my briskets that I source because I know exactly how they're going to taste because I've cooked over 100 of them. thus far. So I know exactly what it's supposed to taste like, how it's supposed to cook, and all that good stuff. I'll be honest, guys. I love HEB. HEB's a great. It's the best grocery store in America. If you don't have an HEB by you, you need to. If you visit Texas or wherever else they have HEBs, you need to go check out HEB. It's the best grocery store out there. However, their briskets are not good. I mean, I'll have that thing on there for 12 hours, and it's just not breaking down the intermuscular fat. I don't know what's going on with it, but the briskets that I've bought, now the choice briskets is what I'm talking about. The choice briskets that I bought from HEB, man, I'll have them on there forever, and I'll pull them off, and they'll be 203, 205, and they'll still be tough when I slice into them. So I don't know what's up with that, but the upper choice briskets that I get from my food supplier, they come out perfect every time. They got really good marbling, and they turn out great. So that's why I don't take other people's briskets to smoke it for them. If they want a brisket from me, they want me to cook it, I'm going to source it to where I know the brisket is going to be good and I know what I'm dealing with. But my point was, I definitely have lost catering business, catering customers, because they didn't like the price. Is the audio okay, guys? Let me know. Shoot me a message on here. Put it in the chat if the audio is okay. I don't have my microphone today. I actually left it at the restaurant. I was filming some videos, so this is just straight off the iPhone. So I apologize if the audio is not as good as it should be. But yeah, like I said, don't be afraid to lose business, because at the end of the day, if that brisket or whatever you're cooking for them is not the quality that you want it to be, then it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. What else do they say about bad customers? We talked about refunds. We talked about exchanges. We'll always exchange stuff. If somebody got a batch of pork ribs and they said, hey, you know what, it just wasn't as tender as it was last time, something like that. If we think that's a valid thing, we'll go ahead and exchange them. They ordered a half a pound of ribs last time. They said, hey, they weren't really quite as tender as they usually are. Yeah, we'll take care of them. But don't be giving stuff away for free just because you're scared they're going to be upset or scared that they're going to leave you a bad review or something like that. Most people are pretty understanding. Most people understand the amount of time, effort, and work it takes to do this stuff. What size brisket are you starting with that produces 8 pounds of finished cooked? So the briskets that I get, and 8 pounds might be a little heavy. They might be lighter, because I'll be honest, CJ, I haven't actually thrown a finished brisket on the scale in a long time. But typically the briskets I get are between 11 and 14 pounds. So they could be a little lighter than that, maybe. But I think they're around 8. I think they're around 8 pounds, TJ, if I'm not mistaken. That's a good point, though. I'm gonna throw a finished one on the scale next weekend and see exactly what it is. But yeah, the briskets that I get, the packaging when I order it, it says average 11 pounds, and it says average 11 pounds. Some of them are 11 pounds, but a lot of them, I would say half of them are probably right, but then the other half are usually bigger. The other half are usually 14, 15 pounds. And they're upper choice briskets from my food supplier, which is Gordon Food Store. But if you're gonna, this leads me to a really good point. If you're going to start cooking briskets for your pop-up business, restaurant business, whatever the case may be, you need to test out a couple briskets and probably a couple different suppliers. If your current one doesn't have a lot of options, or a few, you don't need a lot, but a few options. Like when I first started doing pop-ups, I was purchasing their prime brisket. And the prime briskets were great, but they were huge, man. I mean, these things were massive, probably like 17 pounds, 18 pounds, something like that. They were ginormous and they were really hard to work with. I was trimming a lot off of them. And I said, you know what? Even though it's coming out great, the product, the taste-wise, I said, let me see what their upper choice, let me see what the difference is. And so I started ordering their upper choice, and I was like, man, this is pretty much just as good and the difference was very negligible. And so I was like, all right, they're cheaper. The price difference is insane, but the quality is still there. The marbling is still really good, and so I ultimately started going with the choice because of the quality, but also because that upper choice brisket, they were just coming in a lot smaller and just a lot easier to manage and to deal with. Because when I was ordering the others as well, they give you an average of what the price is. They give you an average of what the weight is, right? Because it's priced by weight. And so I would order a case, and they would say, "Hey, this is your estimated cost for the case of brisket." And then when I got to the store and picked it up, my credit card would be charged for like $200 more for the case because they were so much heavier. So I didn't like that. Trumpet Master said about 16 pounds, yields about 7 to 8 pounds. Okay, so yeah, maybe some of the ones I get in, like I said, some of them are smaller, but some of them are probably between 14 and 16 pounds. Pedro, what did I miss? Bad customers. Yeah, somebody had a question about what to do about bad customers. And I was just telling them, if it's a reasonable thing, like the product wasn't good, like maybe your brisket was just, it came out really dry that day. Maybe you way overcooked it, it came out really dry that way. Take care of the customer, tell them, hey, I apologize, give them a voucher for a free, I don't know, whatever they ordered, half pound of brisket for next time, or, if you feel like you need to give them a refund, if it was really that bad, go ahead and do it. If maybe this is kind of ridiculous, but maybe you there was a glove in their barbecue sandwich, something like that. Obviously, refund them and apologize, give them free food. Make sure they come back. But if people are just really being nitpicky and they're telling you, oh, the sandwich is good, but the barbecue sauce, I really didn't like it. Can I get a refund? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No way. No way. TJ said, okay, thanks. I was wondering how you fit two on your smoker. I just cooked one yesterday and only fit one, but trimmed it, started at 12 to 13 pounds. TJ, I've actually fit 5 briskets on my Old Country Pecos. I had to put them vertically, but I actually was able to fit 5 of them on there. There was absolutely zero room on the smoker. I usually try not to cook more than, right now, I'm selling about 2 to 3 briskets a day. And then we do ribs, sausage, turkey, all that other fun stuff on my other smoker. So usually I would say it's 2 to 4 briskets comfortably on my Pecos, which is actually pretty good, guys. It's not bad, but max I fit 5 on there for catering for my great grandmother's funeral not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. I was able to get 5 on there vertically, and they turned out great, to be honest. Maybe not as good as if, I had more space in there, but that's ultimately why I decided to buy, one of the reasons I decided to buy the 250 gallon is because I'm pretty much at capacity with what I'm cooking right now. Packages start about 16 pounds. Did the unexpected expenses hurt margins? Yeah, I mean, unexpected expenses. If we're talking about food, unexpected expenses, like as far as the bigger briskets, yeah, I would say so. I would say so, because some of those larger briskets, even though they weighed a lot more, you think, oh well, if it weighs more, your profit margin should be the same because you're just selling more brisket. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of excess fat on those bigger briskets that I was just cutting off using for tallow, and it wasn't anything I could sell. But as far as the other unexpected expenses, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it cuts in your profit margin because you're not really you're reinvesting the profits. Like we are building that building, right? And the concrete and the foundation of everything costs about $1,600. Well, that's $1,600 expense for the month that we weren't necessarily expecting, I guess you could say. So yeah, no, for sure. I have an Old Country Brazos. Okay, yeah, so they're different. The Pecos and the Brazos are different. I can't remember exactly the dimensions of each of them, but I know the Brazos is different than the Pecos. And I thought I had a Brazos at first, but it is in fact a Pecos. Old Country Brazos Smoker. I'm looking it up right now. Uh, Old Country Brazos. So if I have the right one, which I think I do, the Old Country Brazos, I'm looking at one that has a counterweight, which is kind of crazy for a smoker this size. Looking at the one with the counterweight, and it looks like the welds are a lot better on this one. And it looks like it's a thicker metal on the Brazos than the Pecos. So it looks like it's a more solid smoker than what I've got, but it's definitely smaller. It's definitely smaller than the Pecos from what I'm seeing. Yeah. Good evening, my barbecue family. What's up, Fat Man Barbecue? Hope you're doing well, brother. Well, I guess you've been commenting, man. I've seen your comments. I was going to say I haven't seen you in a while, but I haven't done a live in a while either. Have you seen the new G3 from Old Country? Thing's a beast. I have not. Let me look that up. Old Country G3. Let's see what this is about. Old Country G3. Oh man, this thing has a lot of stuff going on. Casters on the bottom, so it's got the wheels on the bottom. It's got a smoke collector, which ours don't. Our smokers, the Brazos and the Pecos, don't. Got a nice little handle for the baffle. I think that's what it's called for the smokestack. Rounded firebox, which looks pretty thick. Oh, it's fully insulated. So it's fully insulated firebox. And then it's got two shelves, bottom and top. Okay. Yeah, that thing looks pretty nice. How much do they want for this thing? They want, oh, $3,500. No, sir. Absolutely not. $3,500. You want me to buy one of these? Y'all got a super chat. Y'all got a, y'all got a super chat on here, man. Yeah, that G3 at $3,500 is way too much. Just to give you guys an idea, you guys look up, if you guys are in the chat, look up PRM Barbecue Co. PRM Barbecue Co. I ordered a 250 gallon on skids from them with a fully insulated firebox. It's a huge firebox. And the 250, they really, with the shelving, they really maximize space. It's got upper grates, 2 doors. And I got that for $7,000. $7,000. So to think that you would pay $3,500 for that G3, I just don't see it. It looks like it's got a lot of unnecessary fancy stuff that I don't think it's necessary for a smoker that size. That's kind of wild. That's kind of wild. Because so with the 250, they usually want 50% of it down to start the build, and then the other 50% of delivery. So I put $3,500 down on that, and then it takes about 8 to 10 weeks, and then so it'll be another 35 in 8 to 10 weeks, and yeah, I'll take that all day over that G3. Are you having to run a night crew? Pedro, I am not. No, sir. So I do not believe in suffering. I do not believe in suffering through the night shift to cook my brisket. So I'll give you guys a little secret. If you guys, there's 13 people in here, I got 7 likes. If you guys can get the likes to at least 10 likes on the live stream, I'll tell you my secret to where you'll never have to run night shifts for barbecue. No more night shifts. I think that's worth it. We got 17 people in here. Y'all need to hit the like button, get us to at least 10 likes, and I'll My secret on how you guys will never have to run night shifts for barbecue ever again. 96er says too damn much. Yeah, yeah. 3,500 for that G3 is way too much. TJ, how did you stack the briskets vertical? No. I cooked 5 briskets. Don't get me wrong, these weren't ginormous briskets. I trimmed pretty heavily because I'm selling them, right? But how did you stack the briskets? No, not on the vertical. I don't cook briskets on my vertical smoker because it tends to cook the bottoms too harshly because it's it's a bottom up smoker vertically. So if you cook the briskets on there, don't get me wrong, it's got a big water pan. There's ways you can do it, especially if you're cooking it very low at like 225. But I typically start my briskets low at like 225, but in a couple hours, they're getting put up to 275. I'm pushing those things through. So no, they were on the Old Country Pecos, and I just put them. When I say vertical, I'm talking about I lined them up vertically rather than, because usually when you're cooking a brisket on an offset, you want the point, the big part of the brisket, you want that facing the firebox, and you want the flat on the side of the smokestack, right? But when I was doing 5 briskets on there, I had to put the point towards the back of the smoker and the flat towards the door. And that's how I was able to put that many briskets on there. It's not ideal, but it worked. Eric Burton said long rest. Yes, so we're at 11 likes. I'm going to tell you guys exactly how I did this. 20 people in the chat. Leave a like if you're here. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you feel obligated, if you feel like I'm bringing you guys good value, definitely leave a super chat, even if it's a couple dollars. I really appreciate it. So this is how you do it. So what I do is I usually start my briskets at about 6 a.m. is what I do. So I start my briskets about 6 a.m., all right? And they're on the smoker. And, between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m., I am getting ready to open the pop-up. And at 11, we start rocking and rolling, and we're selling. That brisket's working while we're working. And typically that brisket's on from 6 to, let's see, usually about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So if we're at 6 a.m., 6 to noon is 6 hours. And then 4 more hours, that puts us at 4 p.m. So that puts us at 10 hours, right? If my math is correct, that puts us at 10 hours on the brisket. And usually I've been getting my briskets done in about 10 hours. Let's just say it took 11 hours, that puts you at 5 p.m. And 5 p.m. is when we shut down our pop-up. So usually within the last hour or so of us doing our pop-up event, the brisket is ready to come off the smoker. So we pull it off the smoker, okay, we wrap it with beef tallow that we got from the fat trimmings that we did the day before when we trimmed them, okay, and then I've got a food warmer, an electric food warmer, the big, tall ones that you see at a barbecue restaurant, okay, and it gets wrapped up in there, and it gets put in there, and it sits in there at about 160 degrees, between 150 and 160 degrees, from 5 p.m. to 11 a.m. the next day. So we're talking, that's 7 hours to midnight, and then 11 o'clock is when we open, so it's an 18-hour rest. It's an 18-hour rest in the hot hold, okay? And I have had nothing but success with that. They're juicy. The bark is beautiful. Actually, I don't know exactly the science behind it, but by the time they come off the smoker and they hit the cutting board at 11 a.m., that bark is even darker than it was when I pulled it off the smoker. And that tallow has just been swimming in that tallow for 18 hours. And they come out perfect. They come out great. And so I don't have to be cooking briskets in the evening. I don't have to be cooking briskets after I just had a long day of working the pop-up and selling. I don't have to be cooking briskets in the late hours of the night. Now, what becomes a problem for me, what I hate, is when I have a situation where maybe my truck gets there late, or maybe I didn't order on time or something, and I have to start the briskets later in the day. That sucks. That sucks. So I try to get my briskets on by 6 a.m. So usually I wake up at about 5:30. I drive to the restaurant. First thing I do is I get the fire started. And once the fire starts, or once I've got it going, once I've lit it up, I'll go in. I will. The brisket's already trimmed because I trimmed them the day before. I'll season that thing up, and then it'll go right onto the smoker. And that's how I do it, man. No late nights for me. I can't do it, man. I'm getting old. Eric Burton said, biggest event of my career this weekend: sliced brisket, chicken breast, mac and cheese, beans for 100 people, including the mayor of the city. Wow. Words of advice or encouragement. So it sounds like you've got that coming up. It wasn't this weekend, but the next weekend is what it sounds like to me. Dude, my advice is just put as much love, care, and attention into that food as possible, because it seems like you got a lot of people coming out to try it, including the mayor of the city. And if you can get an endorsement from the mayor, that's going to be a big deal for you. That's going to be a huge deal for you. So I would just make sure everything that you're selling is on point. I would also make sure you have a lot of supporting cast. I'd make sure you have a good amount of either volunteers or employees, people helping you, so that your customer service is on point, that everyone's getting food on time. If I were you with that many people, I would make sure that you're not the one handling any money. I would make sure that they're handling pretty much all the front of house activities, and you can just focus on the food, because at that many people, you're going to need to be 100% focused on the food. Eric Burton said, I use sous vide, long rest my briskets, 10 to 12 hours. Okay. That's one thing I actually haven't done is sous vide. I've never done that. Do you foil or butcher paper? I don't remember. So this is going to be kind of this is a little secret of mine. I've never seen anybody do this, probably because of the cost. But what I do is I lay down 2 sheets of foil, and then what I do is I lay down 1 sheet of butcher paper. Then I put the tallow on the butcher paper, and then I place my brisket on there, and then I wrap it up nice and tight. And the reason I do that is because sometimes the foil, since that brisket's coming off that smoker hot, and I wrap them pretty much immediately. I don't usually wait any time to let the temperature come down at all before I wrap. And so if you just wrap it straight in foil, it's going to steam, and it's going to give your brisket more of a pot roasty texture and taste. And it also could hurt your bark, because you got all that condensation from the top of the foil hitting the top of your brisket. And I like a nice crispy peppery bark. So what I like to do is, like I said, I want what's touching the brisket to be mostly butcher paper. But I like the foil around that because it keeps the heat in better. And I think it just overall, I think it just comes out a better product. You guys should try it, because I've done both. I've wrapped in foil and I've wrapped in butcher paper. The problem with foil is, like I said, it steams it, makes it more pot roasty. And if you just wrap in butcher paper, it's okay if you're doing a short rest, but with an 18-hour rest, I don't want there to be any chance of my brisket drying out, because it's just sitting in butcher paper getting hit by the heat in the warmer. And so that's why I use a combination of both. Is it the cheapest method to do? No, probably not, but it works for me. Eric Burton, I use butcher paper and foil boat. Well, we're not talking about when we're wrapping on the smoker. We're talking about when we're resting it. When it comes to what I wrap on the smoker for the kind of to get through the stall, usually, guys, if I can, I'll do a no wrap brisket. Usually I'll do a no wrap brisket, to be honest with you. So it won't get wrapped at all until it's ready to come off and be rested. Now, if you have a smaller smoker, it's getting more direct heat. And so there, at times, if I feel like the bottom is getting too much direct heat, I will do a foil boat. I will do a foil boat. But, and like I said, I've tried everything. I've tried the butcher paper wrap. I don't mind it. I think it's a good technique. But for me, on that old country Pecos smoker, like I said, if I can get away with doing a no wrap, that's what I do. I feel like it gets more smoke. I feel like it darkens up my bark more. and I think it's just an overall easier, cheaper, better product. But if I feel like they're getting a little too crispy, then I will certainly go to the foil boat method. Pedro said, appreciate the nuggets. Yeah, absolutely, guys. That's what the channel's for. That's what the channel's for, is to give you guys some good information that you guys can use, because nobody else on YouTube is doing it. So if you guys know other people who are in the barbecue game and they're not a subscriber to the channel, they don't know what I'm doing here, definitely, share the channel with them. I appreciate that when you guys do that. Eric Burton said, I have reverse flow, 120 gallon. Got to protect my bottoms. Yeah, yeah. The smoke on the smaller smokers, man. You definitely have to protect the bottoms of those briskets. But what I also found is very helpful is starting the brisket out at a lower temperature. If you can start out for a lower temperature for a couple hours before you bump it up to 275, then usually the bottoms are okay. And the tallow during the rest helps too. But yeah, there's no shame in having to do a foil boat if you have to protect those bottoms. Fat Man Barbecue said, love watching the show. Thank you. Thank you. What other questions you guys got? What other questions you guys got? I have one more topic to talk about. So while you guys are putting your questions in the chat, I'll get into it. One of the topics I said that we could talk about was how to get good cooks on all of your proteins on your smoker. And so the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is to really be concerned about your time and temperatures. Okay? You need to really lock in how much time it's going to take to cook each protein. And you have control over that to some degree, because you can control whether, like, some people are doing 6 hour, 8 hour rib cooks. And for me, I do a 4 hour rib cook. My ribs go on at 7 a.m. and they come off about right as we open, about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So really 3.5, 4 hours. But that's because I'm cooking them at 275. I'm in a smaller smoker, Old Country Pecos. So it's getting a lot of heat. And what I do is the last hour of the cook. So it's really essentially, it's 3 hours of it's 3 hours unwrapped on the smoker. And then I wrap it in foil for the last hour. And they're done. They're done. Okay. And for me, it's about, since I'm the only one cooking, it's about efficiency. It's about my sanity, right? And I just know I have to get there a hell of a lot earlier if I'm going to do 6, 8 hour ribs. Same thing with my turkey. My turkey gets cooked, I guess you could say hot and fast. I put it on at the same time as the ribs. So it's a 3.5, 4 hour cook on the turkey. And it's the same deal. 275 for three hours, and then I wrap it the last hour with butter, and it's done by service. It's done. And so you guys need to key in your times and your temperatures for your specific method of cooking and what you want your product to be and how you want it, because it matters. And same thing with your flavor profiles. You need to figure out what kind of flavor profile do you want. Do you want a real herby turkey, or do you just want kind of that buttery, salty, peppery taste like I've got? Right? There's no right or wrong way to do it. It just depends on what flavor profiles you want to provide. Some people on their briskets, they like to do really exotic rubs. Some people like more of a... I thought I put this thing on Do Not Disturb. It's a matter of what you want your flavor profiles to be. For me, I like more of a classic salt and pepper. I do add one more spice in there, but I'm not going to tell you all what that is. If you've watched my videos long enough, you probably know what it is. But my video came back. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. I thought I was going to do the live on my laptop, but I scheduled it on my phone, so it made me do the live on my phone. Trumpet Master says, at what internal temp are you pulling your briskets for rest, and how long are you resting? So I pull them at 203, okay? However, 203 is just a guideline. So a couple of things that I do. I pull the brisket. my I have a couple indicators if the brisket's done. First, I check the temperature. 203 is what I'm looking for throughout the brisket. The point, the middle, and the flat. I'm looking for 203. All right. The other thing I'm looking for is probe tenderness. If I can stick that thermometer through each three of those points, the point, the middle, and the flat, and it's probe tender. So what that means is when I stick the thermometer probe in there, it just goes through it like butter. It's easy. It goes in easy, comes out easy. There's not really any pull to it. And then the third thing that I'm looking for is I'm going to actually put my hands on the brisket and I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to see if it has that jiggle. If it has those three things, 203 degrees, it's probe tender, and it's jiggling, then it's ready to come off. If it doesn't have one of those three things, it's staying on. Okay, so it could be 207 degrees. Okay, it could be maybe this is probe tender, maybe, but it has a little bit of a pull. But when I pick it up, it doesn't jiggle. It's still kind of tough to move around. Then it's not done. It needs to keep going. And then the rest, I do an 18-hour rest, but I have an actual commercial hot holding unit, proofer, warmer, whatever you want to call it. So I can rest it for 18 hours at 150, 160 degrees, and it's just fine. If you're just using like a cooler, sorry guys, I cracked my neck. Just using like a cooler, 18 hours is risky business, unless it's like a heavy duty Yeti, $300 Yeti cooler. It's kind of risky business, but if you have like a warmer like I do, then you can certainly do it. It's not going to be an issue. Quick bean recipe. Do you smoke any sides? No, Eric, I don't smoke any sides, and I have a reason for not smoking any sides. The reason I don't smoke any of the sides that I do is because I want people to get the smoky flavor from the barbecue, and I don't need to overpower their palate with the smokiness of the sides. Your side items should be a balancing act for your barbecue. And if you are having a really smoky barbecue and then your sides are really smoky too, it's just too much, in my opinion. That's when people start getting heartburn. That's when it is. I want it to mellow out. I want it to mellow out. So I don't smoke any of my sides. On the beans, I mean, guys, you don't have to make your beans from scratch. You don't have to go get the pinto beans and boil them and do all that good stuff. If you can get a good can of Bush's baked beans and you can doctor them up, there's nothing wrong with that. But you do have to put a little bit of effort into it. So what I like in my beans, which I don't even eat beans. I don't even like beans. But what I like putting in my beans, I like sauteing some onions in there. You could add some chopped brisket if you want to. Garlic powder, cumin, stuff like that is going to be a good addition to your beans. Pedro, next to brisket, what is the next popular meat? I would say ribs and sausage. Ribs and sausage. In that order, for sure. Ribs and sausage. If you're only going to do three meats, it's brisket, rib, sausage. At least in Texas. We call that the Texas Trinity, is brisket, ribs, and sausage. That's what people are looking for here. In other parts of the country, like if you're on the East Coast, the Carolinas, they are really pork. That's what they like on that side of the country is pork. So if you don't have pulled pork on that side of the country, you're not going to be very successful. People love their pork. So you got to have your pulled pork. You got to have your pork ribs over there. But here in Texas, this is beef country. So brisket, ribs, and then sausage. 3 hours of smoke on ribs. Is this enough smoke? And is it spare ribs or baby back? So I cook spare ribs. All of your big barbecue restaurants cook spare ribs because it just, you get more product out of the rack. Usually they're a little bit bigger, like in length, I guess. Typically they're not as thick as baby backs, I don't think. But they come from different parts of the cow, right? You've got the pork spare ribs, which if I'm not mistaken comes from the belly, the ribs like in the belly section. And then the baby back ribs come from, different part, the other side of the rib cage, I believe. So I know baby backs are like the mainstream popular things. I think Chili's made them super popular, the baby back ribs, Roadhouse, Chili's, things like that. But uh, all the barbecue restaurants I know of cook pork spare ribs. And as far as 3 hours on smoke, it's 100% enough smoke. If you're using real wood splits, um, and you're cooking them and you're getting a lot of smoke in them, it's plenty of smoke, guys. Especially if you're not dousing your ribs in a lot of different rubs. A lot of people, what they do is they put a real thick rub with a lot of different spices and flavors on their ribs, and you're covering that entire top side of the protein in your rub, in your pork rub, and it's preventing the smoke from penetrating the meat. Okay, I'll be 100% honest with you guys, and I hope some of you guys have the chance to come to New Caney, Texas, and try my pork ribs. I use salt and pepper, guys. That's it. Salt and pepper on my pork ribs, and so it's salt, pepper, and smoke. And just using salt and pepper, it allows that smoke to actually penetrate the meat, and you're actually able to taste it. I've been to places where they put so much seasoning on their pork ribs that you can't even taste the smoke. It's just covered in seasoning. Eric said, I've noticed customers are preferring a combination of a couple store-bought rubs over the classic Texas style here in Michigan. That might be the case. Places are different, different areas are different, so that could be the case. And keep in mind, guys, there's a difference when you're watching creators on YouTube. Understand there's a difference between competition style ribs and ribs you make in the backyard and then ribs you sell in a restaurant. For competition style ribs, you're looking for a one bite flavor explosion. You're looking for when the judges, because you got to think the judges are trying tons of different meat throughout the day, so they're not eating the entire rib. They're not sitting down and having a meal with your ribs. What they're doing is they're taking one bite and they're judging you off of that one bite. So you want a little bit of sweetness, you want a little bit of smokiness, you want the saltiness, you want the pork flavor, you want all that stuff. So a lot of people in competition, they put a lot of stuff on their ribs, from their dry rub to the glaze to a little bit extra seasoning on top of the glaze. They do it up crazy in competition. But if you sit down and try to eat half a pound or a pound of pork spare ribs that are competition, it's gonna be really hard for you to do that because they just got so much shit on them. But if you're cooking in the backyard, you're cooking at your pop-up, your restaurant, man, you want ribs that people can eat. I'm not saying you got to be as basic as me and just do salt and pepper and smoke, but you don't want to go too crazy, in my opinion. Rib tips, loin, there you go. Trumpet Master said New Caney outside Houston. Yes, it sure is. It sure is. Yep. Depending on what part of Houston you're in, it could be an hour away or it could be 25 minutes away. Houston's huge. City limits of Houston are ginormous. Okay. Comp barbecue will kill you. LOL, way too rich. And that's what I'm talking about. Competition barbecue is very rich. Very rich. I know a guy that injects monster drink in chicken for comps. I've never heard of that in my life. That sounds disgusting. Oh, Trumpet Master, you're in Austin. That's barbecue heaven right there, man. That's barbecue heaven. You need to come make a trip out here. Get with me on Instagram or something. Come make a trip out here. I'd like to get your take. I'd love to have you try a plate of my barbecue and see what you think. Austin, there's a lot of competition there. There's a lot of great barbecue places there. But to give you an idea, I view, and I think a lot of people do, view Aaron Franklin from Franklin Barbecue. It's kind of the gold standard for barbecue. Some people may have a preference for something else, for a different place, but I think Franklin is undeniably the gold standard, kind of a baseline great barbecue place. And so I use that as my baseline for what I do. don't get me wrong, you're not going to get the same thing from me as you get from Franklin. They're going to be different flavor profiles, I would say. It's a different taste, a different experience, but that's kind of my gold standard. Uncle T's barbecue. Kirby, keep pushing, my man. Enjoy following the journey. I appreciate that. I will. I'm gonna keep going, man. When I started this thing, I did it to not to quit. I did this for the long haul, man. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Not at all. But there's a lot of, and I'm not trying to throw shade or anything like that, but there's a lot of barbecue YouTubers who, that's exactly what they are, barbecue YouTubers, and they make all of their income in the barbecue game on YouTube videos. And I mean, it's a great way to make money if you can just make, videos about making barbecue and pay your bills. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty awesome. But I get my fulfillment from, serving a lot of people, serving customers, multiple customers a day, and really being out there and sharing the story and the food with people. And I don't, maybe in the future when I get a lot older, maybe I'll transition, but I doubt it. You just make way more money actually selling the barbecue than making videos. You don't make a lot of money doing this on YouTube unless you've got a very large following, very large channel, and you're really pumping in the views. But even so, I mean, with the restaurant, at some point, the goal should be for most people, if you're planning to go down the restaurant path, that is, the goal should be to be able to hire people, teach them the systems and processes, and you pretty much manage the operation. That's my goal. My background's in operations and training. And so, once we get the actual brick and mortar open, I plan on hiring a few people and, leveraging my expertise so that I can save some time and some heartache on my back and some early mornings, guys. I'm not a morning person. It's a struggle for me to get out of bed at 5 or 5:30. I know some of you older guys are probably like, man, these millennials and Gen Z and these guys, man, they don't know what hard work is. But guys, I'm not a morning person. I struggle to get up. If I don't have coffee, within the first hour, first 60 to 90 minutes of waking up, I'm toast. With wood costs, is it hard to be profitable? Um, Louis, I'm not going to say it's hard to be profitable. You can be profitable. You have to run your margins, okay? You have to know what you need to charge to be profitable, because when you talk about profit, it doesn't really matter necessarily on number of people. Like, you need to factor all of that into, okay, how much profit am I making per customer that I get? What's my average order value, right? But then at the same time, if you are serving a lot of customers, you're going to have more profit, right? Your profit on 20 customers a day is going to be different than your profit on 100 customers a day, or 500 customers a day, or 1,000 customers a day, like some of these big barbecue places. Like one of the businesses in the Austin area, Terry Black's, man, they're open crazy hours. I think they're open from like 10 a.m. to like 11 p.m. like 6 days out of the week, something crazy like that. They've got a lot of staff, obviously, to be able to do that, but they're making a lot of money because they're able to staff it. They're able to stay open those hours, and they're able to keep all that product on hand. So I wouldn't say it's hard to be profitable, but just can't be a dummy. Like, you got to do, not that you're a dummy. I'm just saying, like, you got to do the math. You got to make sure that you're making profit on every sale. And then from there, once you know you're making profit on every sale, then it's just about marketing and word of mouth, and making sure that you're getting enough customers through the door. It's much easier to be profitable on 100 customers than it is 10. I think that's why I think that's really the downside for a lot of people running pop-ups that I'm teaching people how to do pop-ups on this channel that are in different parts of the country, because the demand for barbecue in New Jersey isn't the same as it is in Central Texas. You know, I set up a tent on the side of the road 6 months ago. Nobody knew me at all. Okay, I got my backyard smoker out there, and tons of cars honk, tons of cars stop by and buy food because that's just kind of the culture here in Central Texas. I can't guarantee you're going to have the same success up in New Jersey or Nebraska or any of these places. Not to mention the population density. I'm outside of, like I said, depending on where you're at in Houston, I'm between 25 minutes and an hour outside of Houston. Houston is one of the largest cities in the world. El Barrio Cookers, what's up, man? Did you end up selling your smoker, bro, or you still got that thing for sale? I know you were trying to sell it. And have you done any cooks recently, man? Have you done any events recently, El Barrio? You're right down the road, and you still haven't come to see me, man. Or maybe you did, you just didn't tell me it was you. I don't know. Maybe you were a secret shopper. You need to come through, El Barrio, right down the road, man. Uncle T's Barbecue. Some advice on wood costs may vary depending on location, but here in South Carolina, I know a few tree cutters. I had a long bed truck, $80 for a truckload split. Wow. What kind of wood are you using, Uncle T? I'd be curious to know what kind of wood you're using at that price, man. Usually, like I'm paying $240 for half a cord of wood of post oak wood. $240 for half a cord of post oak wood. That's delivered and stacked. That's about the running price around here. That's I've had a couple different wood suppliers. I found one that I really like now, but I've had a couple different wood suppliers, and that's about the going rate was about $200 for half a cord, and I pay an extra $40 to have them deliver it and stack it. Some will give you full logs for free, but you have to cut and split them yourself. No, the ones I get, they're already cut, they're split, they're already dried and aged and all that good stuff, and they're perfect splits for my smoker. They're not too big. I couldn't tell you how long they are, but if you're familiar with, most backyard pits fireboxes, they fit in there really well. How do you go about buying meat in bulk or finding the right meat distributor? Really, what I would do is I would ask around what other people are using. If you see a barbecue pop-up or a food truck or something like that on the side of the road, I'd stop and I'd ask them, hey, where do you get your meat? So on and so forth. And then what I'd also do is just look around in your local area for food distributors. Like here, obviously in Houston, we have a lot of different choices. We've got U.S. Foods, we've got Cisco, we've got Benny Keith, which I don't know if Benny Keith does meat or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But we have Gordon. I use Gordon Food Service Store because they were the closest to me. And they don't have an order minimum. You can just walk in and buy it if you need to. And they have free delivery, which is awesome. And you just got to buy the product and you got to cook it and you got to see if you like it. And if you don't like it, you got to see what other different choices that they have for you and try those. And if you don't like any of the choices that food supplier has for you, then you move on to the next one. I know people, and I've never cooked a Costco brisket, so I'm not going to talk crap about Costco. I know a lot of people like Costco briskets. I don't think you're going to get the best cost there. I think if you're going to do this seriously, I think you need to go with a food distributor that restaurants actually use. Like Gordon, where I'm at, they supply the Denny's and the IHOPs and stuff like that. So I know that their stuff is going to be, restaurant grade. El Barrio said, yeah, I dropped a prime rib video. Okay, cool. I'll go check that out. I'm trying to stop by. Don't try, just do, El Barrio. And make sure you tell me who you are too, man. When you stop by, don't be a secret agent. Louis says, Uncle T here in Texas where I'm at, easily 500 a cord. oak if you don't know someone. Yeah, there you go. Like I said, I'm paying 240 for half a cord, and that's delivered and stacked. So 500 a cord sounds about right. Thanks for the price on half a cord, bro. Yeah, no problem. And that's post oak. I still have the smoker, refurbishing it, fixing the little things that need to be fixed. Okay, yeah, do your thing. Uncle T's, pecan and cherry, my main go-to, but they have oak and hickory 2 seasons. I have to load it and unload it myself. Yikes! I mean, if you're getting cheap prices, I guess, but yeah, I'm not I'm not loading it and unloading it. They got to do that if they want my business. There's too many people around here selling wood for me to do that. Uncle T, you should try Post Oak, man, if you haven't already. I know you said cherry and pecan's your go-to. I do like cherry on ribs. My grandfather, who was Kirby, my name's actually Sean. I named the business after Kirby, my grandfather who passed away in 16. He liked using cherry on his ribs, and that turned out really good. But overall, to be able to smoke everything, I like Post Oak. That's what people kind of expect around here. El Barrio said, I pay 50 cents per stick on Post Oak and pecan. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some places market price by stick, but I haven't really bought it per stick. I don't know what that breaks down to for like half a cord, but they sell it like that sometimes. Uncle T said, dang, LL, I be thinking 80 is a little too much. Nah, man. Nope. I guess it depends on your area too, man. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but that's super cheap for where we're at. Joel said, thank you. I appreciate your advice. You got it, man. You got it. That's what I'm here for. Restaurant Depot, so you can actually see the product you're buying instead of receiving blind shipment. Yeah, that's good. Restaurant Depot, I've heard of them. I haven't actually shopped there before, but Restaurant Depot, so you can see it. That makes sense. I think in bulk though, you want to find a supplier that you don't necessarily a supplier you can trust is what I'm saying. That you don't necessarily have to see each and every brisket before you buy it, because like I'm usually buying about 2 cases a weekend, so usually about 10 briskets a weekend right now. I'm doing everything, so I don't have time to go in and look at each and every brisket. If I was getting a truckload for 80, I wouldn't be worried about wood cost. 100%, 100%. I'd be taking that wood and running, man. At $80 a truckload, that's good. That's good. But half a cord usually lasts me a month. So 240 for the month ain't bad. Honestly, I can't tell the difference between wood flavors. I started out with pecan, so that's just my go-to. My stacks are all mixed up, so I just grab whatever, throw it in. I hear you. I hear you. Cherry obviously has a little bit more sweeter note. Pecan, a little more nuttier note, right? Oak is just a nice, light, mild smoking wood that can really go with anything. And I think, especially when you're doing brisket, I think there's an advantage to doing oak because it's an extremely long time you're subjecting the brisket to the smoke. And so, in my opinion, I don't think you want to overpower it with something like, I know you didn't mention mesquite, but something like mesquite that's real strong over 10 to 12 hours, that's kind of rough on your brisket, man. That brisket is going to come out tasting very different than if you used oak. Logan said Rufino's Meats is who I use. Okay, never heard of them. Okay. I know that like a lot of the top barbecue restaurants in Central Texas, they go through what is it called? Somebody help me out. Something Farms. Uh, what are they called? I've heard of Snake River. I know Snake River Farms is a big one, but it's not them. It's someone else. Who is it? They always mention it in the videos on who they're using. It's a butcher. I believe they're here in Texas. Creekstone Farms. Thank you, Joel. Thank you. Yeah. A lot of them talk about they use Creekstone Farms because they're the best and blah, 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 blah. And I think they're ethically raised and all that good stuff, which I'm about. That's cool. And I think a lot of these barbecue guys and girls, they've worked at these other barbecue restaurants. And that's something different about me too. Not saying it's good or bad, but sorry about that. But a lot of these girls and gals that start their own barbecue restaurants, they have worked at one of the other top restaurants. And so Creekstone Farms is what they're used to using, and they know the product, and I think that's why they end up going with them. And I don't know what kind of wholesale deals they give for people doing the volume that these big barbecue restaurants are doing. 50 to 100 briskets a weekend. I don't know if they give like a wholesale discount or not. And I don't know how big that discount is. But if you go to Creekstone Farms website, I'm going to pull them up right now. The briskets are expensive, man. And I looked at them obviously as an option, but price-wise, I just couldn't justify it. I couldn't justify it. I wouldn't be making any profit if I bought my briskets from them. Let's see. I'm going to pull them up right now. Give me a second, guys. Let's see. Creekstone Farm. We'll move you guys over here. Creekstone Farms, briskets. Okay. So their USDA prime briskets, is they don't sell, at least I'm not seeing any choice briskets on here. They are, I'm seeing $140. So if you get an 11 to 13 pound brisket from them, it's $140 a brisket. Guys, I'm paying on average $75 per brisket for upper choice brisket from Gordon Food Supply. And almost every single customer I get tells me it's the best brisket that they've ever had. So there's no way I can justify doubling the amount I'm paying per brisket and charging what I'm charging. I charge $30 a pound. I mean, so unless I'm going to charge $60 a pound for brisket, and nobody's going to buy that for that price, nobody's charging that. These top barbecue restaurants are charging $34 to $36 a pound. So when they talk about in these videos that brisket is their least profitable item, they're not lying to you. Because if they're using Creekstone Farms, I can 100% believe that brisket's their least profitable item. If I was paying $140 a brisket, I would not be able to stay in business. There's no way. That's literally almost double what I'm paying right now. And I might order one of these one day and just cook it for me and the wife and the family and see, what all the hype's about. But that's entirely too much, guys. Even if they discounted the brisket by $40 per brisket for wholesale, and they're charging $100 per brisket, it's still $25 more than what I'm paying. Still $25 more than what I'm paying. So I don't know. Maybe you guys know something I don't know, but ain't no way I'm paying that. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Let's see. I got to catch up on these comments. Let's see. Where am I at? I bet you would notice mesquite flavor. Yeah, 100%. I will definitely try Restaurant Depot. I'm from California, so I've been looking. $500 minimum delivery. McLaren Farms is the new top dog. Yeah, I've heard of them. I've heard of them too. I bet you their pricing is pretty similar. What are they charging per brisket at McLaren Farms? You guys let me know. Drunken Chef Barbecue, what's up, man? What up? Tapping in to show support. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If anybody wants to get us started off with the first super chat of the night, I surely would appreciate it. Buy me some brisket, man. Logan said Benny Keith only has Creekstone frozen now. I don't buy any briskets frozen, man. I only buy them fresh. I think, I don't know, like I said, I don't know the science behind a lot of this stuff. I speculate, but every time I've frozen, because I get all my briskets in fresh. And any time that I freeze a brisket and then I thaw it out and then I season it, cook it, for some reason it just doesn't turn out as well. And so I don't like getting any of the briskets frozen at all. Logan said, wholesale, don't expect any cheaper than HEB. $5.06 5.06 a pound for McLaren Choice upper 2/3. Last week $5.28 for the Elite Prime. $5.28. Yeah, I'm paying $4.19 for upper choice right now. Not going to McLaren. Definitely not. Sorry. Dang, they busted y'all heads out there. Yeah, man, it's expensive. It's expensive. Like I was talking to my uncle who lives in Kansas, and he was telling me that one of the barbecue places is charging $20 a pound for brisket. I'm like, I'd be out of business if I was only charging $20 a pound. Raul said, what's up, bro? I'm getting ready for my first pop-up, hopefully in late April or early May. That's awesome, man. Make it happen. I'm excited for you. Definitely tune back in and let me know how your first pop-up went. But hopefully the videos I'm making are helping you get set up and ready. Logan said they wanted $5.70 for frozen creekstone last week. I just don't think that that's worth it. You know, I went to Franklin in August of last year, and obviously I believe they're using Creekstone Farms the last I checked, at least when I was there. And it was great. It was the best brisket I had ever had until I perfected mine, and I think it's on par with Franklin's brisket, to be honest. Any of you guys are welcome to come check it out. Come try us. Come try us at Kirby's Barbecue, New Caney, Texas, and let me know what you think. But I think mine's right on par with Franklin. And to pay $5.70 or $5.06 is, I don't know. I'm paying $4.19 right now, man. What's your cash app, man? LOL. I'll send you a little something so you too won't take a cut. That's awesome. I don't know. I don't know what my cash app is. I'm gonna have to look. I think it's. Oh, what is my cash app? Man, I'd be lying if I said something. I'm not sure exactly, and I'm streaming this on my phone, so that's how I would check. I don't want to lose the stream by logging into Cash App. What is it? It is. Shoot, you'll have to catch me on the next one, or just super chat on YouTube, man. I'll take the hit. I'll take the hit. Just send it through YouTube, man. Just super chat it. Send it through YouTube. I'll take the hit on it. No biggie. I don't want to tell you the wrong Cash App, man. And then it goes to who knows where. $4.19 for commodity prime Costco business. Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll check that out and see how it compares to the upper choice that I'm cooking. I've been really satisfied with, been very satisfied with the upper choice that I've been cooking. It took me a little bit to adjust from doing the prime. Definitely takes a little more love than the prime did. You can season a prime, throw it on the smoker, it's going to come out great. But with the upper choice, it's going to be a great product, but you got to, make sure you know what you're doing. I'm definitely going to add on IG. Yeah, Joel, add me on IG, man. I try to post stuff on there for sure. Blessed Kitchen from Cali. Okay. Yeah, I'll shoot you a follow back. Bruning's Barbecue up here in Iowa. Guys are charging $20 a pound for brisket too. To be fair, it's basically a boot leather roast. I'm up here charging $36 a pound. Wow. I'm curious, have you had people complain about the $36 a pound? And I only say that because the top places here in Central Texas are charging $36 a pound. And if you think your brisket is that good, by all means, you guys know I always tell you, get your money, charge what you think it's worth. But I'd be curious to know if they're complaining about that price, given that everyone else is charging $20 a pound. But if your stuff is the real deal and there's it's tasted like boot leather roast, I mean that it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Once they try the brisket, they don't complain. And that's what I try to tell you guys in all of the pricing videos that I make. Is if your stuff is good, charge what you need to charge. Because once they taste it, they're not going to complain. I've never had somebody taste my brisket and then complain about the price. Never. Raul, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. And that it looks like that's your first super chat? Man. Congratulations on your first super chat, man, and thank you so much. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Like I said, I make these videos for you guys. I try to keep it real and try to keep it real for y'all and not leave anything out. Barbecue community is about sharing stuff, not holding stuff back, in my opinion. At the end of the day, it's not about the seasonings or the rubs. It's about the technique and the love that you put into the food. Raul, that's to show a little love. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. Victor said the best upper I've cooked was Cab brand briskets, but hard to get now. I do think upper 2/3 is better than commodity prime. I need to swing by your place next weekend. Yeah, man, if you're in the area, if you're willing to travel, come check us out. Come check us out. We'll take good care of you, man. Just let us know that you're coming from the YouTube channel, and that'll be great. That'll be great. Come check us out. 11 to sold out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But at 5 o'clock, regardless, I'm out, man. I'm out at 5 o'clock. We're done, man. Today was great, though. We sold out at 3 o'clock today. So I didn't have to stay any later than that. 3 o'clock we sold out, packed everything up, and we're gone, man. I think we were gone by like 4. Actually had a customer come by after. It was a repeat customer too, so I felt kind of bad. They always come in, they just order a pound of brisket and that's it. And they were like, "You got any more? You got any more brisket?" I was like, "No, I'm sorry, man. We're done. We're sold out." I had everything cleaned up, man. Bruni's Barbecue said we do upper choice too. Cisco has Cab brisket. It's all upper 2/3. You know, Cisco is a supplier I'm very familiar with in my past restaurant management life. We use Cisco for all of our food products, except for produce, and they were always good to us. Since I worked in very high volume using Cisco, I always felt like they definitely cater to the bigger businesses. I'm not sure if I could get an account with them with how small I am and the small orders I'm doing right now. Usually I order about $800 to $1,000 worth of food per weekend. I don't know if they would take us on. Maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe that's something I need to look into. But Gordon's much closer to us right now, and I kind of like to support a little bit locally. And they haven't done me wrong. So, yeah. RTG, what's up, man? Who is Kirby? Kirby is he was my grandfather. He was my grandpa on my mom's side. He used to compete in barbecue competitions in Kansas City, Kansas. That's where my family's originally from Kansas. I was a military brat, lived all over the country. Didn't ever really live in Kansas myself, but my parents are from Kansas. That's where they grew up. And I named the business after him. He was big into barbecue for a long time. He taught me kind of the basics growing up, and really always enjoyed his barbecue. He passed away in 2016, and I thought, what a better way to honor him and honor his legacy than to go ahead and name the business after him. And so that's what I did. You know, I think something I haven't even talked about on the channel, maybe I'll make a video about this, but, you know, number one, Kirby's Barbecue has a much better ring to it than Sean's Barbecue, right? But you need to have a story, guys. You got to have a story behind your barbecue business and the name of your barbecue business, because people buy stories. You know, most of the time, they're either going to buy into your story or they're going to buy into how do I want to put this? They're going to buy into it because they feel like it gives them a higher status, like Mercedes, BMW, Louis Vuitton, Versace, Gucci. People buy those brands because it makes them feel luxury, that makes them feel like more of a person than they are, if that makes sense. And they want other people to see it. They want other people to see that they own luxury brand stuff. Okay, that's why those brands sell a lot of the time to people. You know, you see these young kids with $100 Gucci shades or $100 Gucci t-shirts and stuff like that. They're not buying it because the t-shirt's the best t-shirt in the world. It might be good quality. I don't know. I've never owned one. But they're really buying it because they want people to see that brand on them. And so if you're not building a brand that's like status, okay, then you need a story to sell. And so using my grandfather's name, his story, the roots, my relationship with him, how he taught me barbecue and all that good stuff, it was just a much better story to use. And that's one of the reasons I incorporated it, and to honor him and his legacy. Thanks for asking, though. Uncle T's Barbecue. I try to be competitive with my prices. When I make my menu, I look at all the joints around and make prices comparable. If I know mine is better, I got up a buck or two on per pound. Yes, that's the way to do it. And I sent you a message on Instagram. Just hit me up when you in the stream. Yeah, for sure. I'll hit you up, man. I'll hit you up for sure. I'll hit you up for sure. Raul sent the first super chat. Who's gonna send the second super chat of the night, guys? Gotta pay for this brisket, guys. If you guys want me to get some Creekstone Farms briskets, man, y'all got a super chat. If anyone wants to donate a Creekstone Farms brisket, that $140 craziness, I'll cook it, I'll smoke it, I'll do a whole video on it. I'll break everything down with the Creekstone Farms brisket. They're going to be hitting me up trying to sue me or something if I say something bad. Brenning's Barbecue, I'm just a food truck catering business. They have a will call account where you can order and pick up from them. That's what we do. Yes, yeah, I've used Cisco's will call several times in my past restaurant life when we missed an item on our order. We needed something same day. Their will call is pretty efficient. It's great. But the closest Cisco to me, I think, is in the Greens Point area, and which is a horrible area, by the way. Don't go there without a strap, for sure. You better be carrying when you go in that area. But guys, to be honest, I don't have time to go drive over there and pick it up. And my orders now are pretty large orders, a lot of items. I don't want to be packing that into my car and things like that. So I don't do that. Gordon delivers for me for free. So that's what I like. I like that. Logan said, I do $32 a pound, Space City Barbecue. They keep coming back at first. They'll complain, but once you make them believers, you got them hooked. Logan, you work at Space City Barbecue, or you own Space City Barbecue? Because somebody mentioned you guys, one of our customers mentioned you guys last weekend. Let me know if you work there. I'd love to chat with you, man, because I've heard, they said you guys had some really good food, man. They said y'all had some really good food. I'd love to talk to you about that. If you do, that's cool. That's awesome, man. I'd love to chat. TJ Murray said, in my experience with the food supplier, Cisco, the small restaurant gets charged more per case because they can't buy in bulk. That's my assumption. I don't know for sure, so I don't want to say that, but from my assumption would be that, yes, TJ. Rural Kirby, my barbecue shop is called Four Queens Barbecue. The story behind is having 4 daughters and the love of playing poker. Okay, there you go. See, everybody needs a story. You gotta have a story. You gotta be able to explain that story. I've had people come to the pop-up and they say, hey, I read your whole story. I had a lady last weekend. She was like, hey, I know everything about you. I read your whole story. And I was a little taken back because we're still pretty small. And just to know that people are actually looking into us and reading their story and checking out what we're about it was heartwarming. It was cool. Honestly, I didn't even know what to say when she said that. I was just like, oh, okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I didn't really know what else to say. TJ said the rep gets paid in commission on what they sell, so they charge more. Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yeah, Gordon. I don't even have a rep at Gordon. I know the manager. I've gotten to know the managers pretty well, but I don't have like a dedicated rep per se. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew they had reps, but I didn't know they got like commission on it and stuff like that. Logan said, stick to the 11 to 5. That's how we roll. Okay. Yeah, that's what I do, man. This is my full-time gig. Kirby's Barbecue is my full-time gig right now. I'm trying to build it up to where it makes full-time income. My wife works and she's amazing and really, does what she has to do to pay the bills and do what we got to do while I'm building this. But 11 to 5, I mean, and where I'm at, my area, I don't think I'd really get too much business outside of those hours. We're usually dead. Usually, sometimes today actually we got, I think, 3 orders between 11 and 12. But usually it's dead. We don't get nothing between 11 and 12, and then it starts to pick up. And by 5 o'clock at the latest, we're sold out, and we don't really see too many people stop after that. And I don't, I got a wife and a dog, which I know is not kids and stuff like that, but I like to get home at a decent time, especially on the weekends, because those are the days my wife has off, and I try to spend some time with her. So, Bruni's Barbecue, stay strapped or get clapped, 100%. 100%. Beretta is my choice. Beretta is my choice. I do want to get a Glock 19, but right now, what I carry is a Beretta APX full size 17+1. That's what I carry. So if you ever see me on the smoker early in the morning, don't run up on me because I got that thing on me. Yep, that's a fact. Uncle T's Barbecue, who taught you about smoking meats? All my knowledge came from YouTube and trial and error. When I first started out, I was using wet wood chips. I was clueless to the game. So originally, kind of like I said, my foundation on what I learned initially was from my grandfather, we called him Papa Kirby. From Papa Kirby, he taught me initially on how to smoke meats. But I mean, I was young. I wasn't really it wasn't something I ever thought I would do for a living for sure. But he kind of gave me the foundation. He taught me the basics about, how to smoke meats and barbecue and how to make side items and things like that. That was him. He taught me that kind of stuff. And then as I got older, one of my first jobs was in the restaurant. I have a little over a decade's worth of restaurant experience, and I was working in. I started in pizza. I've done sandwiches, and then majority of that decade has been spent in full service kitchens. So we ground our beef in house. We made all the sauces and dressings in house. We did chicken. We did turkey. We did fish. We did everything you can think of. Chicken wings. So I learned how to prep and I learned how to make things from scratch and everything like that in that experience in those restaurants. They were very high volume. We were doing $40,000 to $50,000 a week in sales in those restaurants, and I opened a couple of those. We had 22 locations. I was a part of 3 of the openings, and so that's kind of where my experience has been. And then literally over the last probably 12 months is when I really got into barbecue heavy and started learning all the things that I hadn't learned since my grandfather had passed. I guess that would have been 9 years ago. I had to educate myself on what barbecue had become over the last 10 years. And I used YouTube. I went to barbecue restaurants like Franklin and Austin. I did a lot of watching videos. I did a lot of trial and error, a lot of testing, a lot of different things. And yeah, and started formulating my own opinions and things on how to do it based on all of that. And I also had the privilege of working with our executive chef at the full service restaurant for several months. We actually did every Monday, I think it was Mondays, every Monday we actually cooked for Texas A&M football team. So we were cooking for, so the football team, the staff, the trainers, so we were cooking for like, I can't even remember, maybe 150 people every Monday, and we were doing everything under the sun: steaks, roasts, salads, desserts, lobster, all kinds of different stuff. So my culinary experience, I would say, has been pretty vast. But that's why I tell people on the channel that if you're going to start doing some of this, and I know this isn't what most people want to hear, but I think you should go work at a Space City barbecue. I think you should go work at a Kirby's barbecue. I think you should go work at some of these places and learn what they're doing. You don't have to agree with everything they're doing. You can obviously take what you want to do and implement that into your own concept. But I think you need to have some kind of restaurant experience. And maybe, ideally, if this is your focus, if this is your goal, it should be at a barbecue restaurant. Don't tell them that, you're going to be their competition in a year or whatever, in 6 months or a year or whatever. But I think you should go work at a barbecue restaurant or just any restaurant, particularly maybe a full service restaurant where they have a real scratch kitchen to where you can really learn some things before you get started, because it's going to put you in a way better place when you start selling yourself. Logan said, yes, I own Space City Barbecue. I'm going to have to go check y'all out. If I'm not mistaken, you guys are by NASA. I'm assuming because of Space City name. Space City Barbecue. Baytown. Okay, yeah, y'all are in Baytown. I'm going to have to come check y'all out one of these days. I don't really make it out that way too often, but I don't mind making the trip. Let's see what y'all got. Brisket, ribs, turkey, pulled pork, sausage, potato salad, burnt and pinto beans, cornbread, casserole, mac and cheese, cucumber, tomato salad. Okay. Got some nachos, tacos. Got a burger. Thursday through Saturday. Yeah, once we get a lot busier, I want to open up on Thursdays. But right now it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, I'm looking. Racks of ribs on racks of ribs. I see. Cool, cool, man. Yeah, we'll have to link up. We'll have to link up. I'd love to try your barbecue. I'd love for you to try ours and see what we're good. Similarities, differences, things like that. That'd be cool. You can go check that out. That'd be dope. Bruning's Barbecue says, I run a 1911 Beretta 92 FS or my favorite CZP01. Okay. Yeah, I want to get a 92 FS and I want to get a Glock 19 as well to add to the collection. Logan said, yeah, not much of a destination place. Hey, but Baytown's got a lot of people in it, man. Baytown's got a lot of people. I'm sure you guys do great. And y'all made Texas Monthly? Sheesh. Where'd you guys rank on Texas? Not that it matters. If you make Texas Monthly, you make Texas Monthly, bro. Like, no, I'm not. Whether you're first or you're 10th or you're freaking 50th, if you make the list, you make the list, man. Cool. That's awesome, man. Honestly, that's my goal. That's my goal. I don't really care about any of the local awards. I don't care, some of these places I see locally, not gonna name them out, not gonna call them out, but I see they have all these trophies and awards and stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Because I've been to some of these places and the barbecue's not that good, and they got all these trophies in the window. I want to make Texas Monthly. That's what I want to do. I want to hit Texas Monthly. I want to get top 50, and freaking that would take my business to the next level, which I'm sure it did for you guys. Bruni's Barbecue. I just went down to San Antonio to pick up my food trailer last month. Was able to hit Burnt Bean. Amazing barbecue. Yeah, I've heard really good things about Burnt Bean Barbecue. I've watched a lot of videos on them. Their food looks great, man. Their food looks absolutely amazing. Logan said they did top 24 bites in 2024. Cool. See, Logan, I just got to get open for dine-in, man. I got to get my smoke shack built out. I got to get my smoker in, and I got to get really rocking and rolling right now. I don't know how closely you follow the channel, but we've got the restaurant space. We're building out the smoke shack. We've got the smoker on order. Right now we're doing pop-ups right outside of the restaurant, and we're getting close. I think May. I think we'll be able to open fully in May. That's the goal, and then that's when stuff like the Texas Monthly and some of those things can really be possible because we need to be open, have the full kitchen available, have a full menu. Right now we have a good menu, but it's certainly limited. Brisket Daddy Barbecue, what's up, man? What's up, man? My man is a member. We got TJ, a member of the channel. Brisket Daddy Barbecue, a member of the channel. Love to see it, man. I'm glad you were able to hop on. I know you probably had a busy weekend too. I think I saw you cooking. Holy Moly Barbecue. What up, Kirby? Hailing all the way from Los Angeles. What's up, man? I hope you guys didn't get, I hope you weren't affected by the fires out there. Logan from Space City says, hell yeah, man, definitely going to have to try a Sunday swing by y'all and Weaver's Barbecue. For sure, yeah, come through. It was just an article. The new list is coming out in June. Yeah, Logan, I know the new list is this year, and we're not quite open yet, and I'm a little bummed out about it because I definitely haven't seen Daniel Vaughn stop by. I definitely have not seen it. I would know if he had stopped by, and he hasn't yet. And I don't know. I don't think he will between then. I don't know what the cutoff is. I don't know when he stops going to places and whatnot. I'm assuming he's probably wrapped up or close to it for the list, but I'll have to catch it on the next run. I'll have to catch it on the next run in a couple of years. And hey, even to have an article written about you is a big deal. Brisket Daddy said, I want to get on that list too. Hey, keep at it. And you're not in Texas, man. I guess they do articles on barbecue places outside of Texas. I know I've seen that. So you got a shot. You need a new, younger contractor. I do, man. But, money. Money, man. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We will get there, no doubt about it. I really didn't want to over leverage myself on debt to get this thing done. So we'll get there when we get there. The Lord says, how long have you been streaming? What did I miss? Man, I've been streaming for an hour and a half. No, an hour and 43 minutes. An hour and 43 minutes, man. We've been rolling. We talked about unexpected expenses when you're opening your barbecue place. We talked about bad customers. We talked about how to get the best cooks on your proteins. So definitely stay live with us. But once this video takes a second, hours. Usually it takes a day for the live stream to become a video for you guys to watch. Sometimes it's sooner, but usually it takes about a day for it to pop up as a video. But definitely go back tomorrow and check it out and see what you missed, because you missed a lot, man. We've been live for an hour and 40 minutes. I think this is my longest live stream. You guys been holding it down, so we'll keep going for a little bit longer because I know you guys got questions and things y'all want to talk about. But yeah, man, we talked about some bad customers. Not of mine. I got great customers, but somebody that commented and asked what to do about bad customers, asked for refunds, exchanges, things like that. So Brisket Daddy said, I will go back and watch all topics I want to hear. Yeah, there's some good topics, man. Some good topics. It was a long weekend, guys. Long weekend. We were somewhat. We did okay this weekend. Wasn't our busiest weekend. I think because we have the Houston Livestock and Rodeo Show in town. This was the last weekend. As a matter of fact, today's the last day. So I think a lot of people were in Houston at the rodeo this weekend trying to catch it before. Uh, all right, Trumpet man, you got to bounce. I'll see you later, man. Have a good night. I think a lot of people were trying to catch the rodeo. Luke Bryan was tonight. We were actually thinking about going, but it was a long weekend, man. So we decided not to. We'd already been to the rodeo several days. I volunteered at the rodeo, so we didn't end up going this weekend. But I think a lot of people were out there because we had a lot less traffic than usual, but it still ended up being a decent weekend. Still ended up being a decent weekend. Logan, if you're still in here, man, I'd love for you to tell the chat kind of what did the article that was written about you in Texas Monthly, what did that do for your business, man? Did that dramatically increase the amount of customers that came in? Did a lot of people uh, come in because of the article? I'm curious about that. I know other people would be as well. And what do you think has been kind of the thing that has made you guys as successful as you are? And any other questions? You guys got any other questions? Put them in the chat. I'm only going to run this thing live as long as you guys are in the chat asking questions. Otherwise, we'll shut this thing down. But y'all still got questions, let me know in the chat. And I want to hear if Logan's still in here from Space City Barbecue in Baytown, Texas. Y'all need to go check him out if you're in the area. And yeah, but I'd definitely like to know. Brisket Daddy said, you thought about DoorDash. They hit me up and want 15% of sales for 5 mile radius, 25% for. No. Look, so I'm on DoorDash. I just got on DoorDash 2 weekends ago. And they have a plan that's free. They have a plan. Well, actually, let me take that back. It's not 100% free. They take 15%. I don't have a sliding scale like that though. They take 15% of sales, and there's no sliding scale as far as I'm aware of. But yeah, I would do it because it's free money. If they're taking 15%, 85% of something is better than 0% of nothing. So yeah, I think DoorDash is a good deal. I think DoorDash is a real good deal. And something that I was advised to do, which I have done, is on DoorDash, my prices are inflated. My prices are a couple dollars more than what they are in person to try to kind of make up for the 15% that they're taking. I know 15% is 15%, but hey, we make a little bit more money per order, because our prices are a little bit higher. Logan said nothing too crazy has come from it yet besides meeting a few people. Hey, you know what? The fact that you have an article there sets you up, though, for a future ranking. Because, in my opinion, or I'd hope, you're now on their radar, right? They wrote an article about you, you're now on their radar. So, you could be next in line, man. You could be next in line. And you hear those stories about how before Goldie's was number one on the list, they went from doing 10 briskets a week before the list to doing 100 briskets a week after they made number one on the list. And I know that's number one, but still, even if you could get 25% of an increase, that's huge by making the list at, I don't know, 25 or 30 or 40. Because I think another thing is, you don't have to be first on the list. If you make the list at number 35 or number 40 and you're in Baytown and people in Baytown saw you made the list, they're going to come check you out rather than driving 3-4 hours away. That's what I would think. I'd hope. Brisket Daddy said, I can set up at my house on a Monday night football, turn on the app, fill orders on Friday nights when people get out of the club and stay up till 1 a.m. Yeah? Yeah. Logan said the really nice pictures I have on my pages were from Paloma Photography. He came out and did it all for free. Okay. Bruning said I followed you guys on IG. That's awesome. Yeah, go follow if you. I think you're talking about Brisket Daddy and Space City Barbecue. Definitely go follow those guys on IG. Hirotoshi Mugen came out. He is supposedly the guy that helps rank the top 50. All right. I always just hear about, um, the main guy. I just said his name and I totally lost it. But I always hear about the main guy. I never heard of that guy. But I figured he had some kind of help because that's a lot of places to go visit for just him. Don't get me wrong, we've got some crazy. Don't get me wrong, we've got some foot traffic from out of town, but nothing crazy. Everything helps. Everything helps. Daniel Vaughn, that's right. Yeah, I kind of, common sense kind of told me that he probably had a crew. He couldn't be the only one, but that's the dream, man. How's the progress on the smoke shack? So we got concrete poured last weekend. It is pretty much cured. In some places it might take 30 days to cure, but here in the Texas sun, that stuff cures pretty quick. Um, and we should be putting up the walls and roof, kind of the surrounding of it, this upcoming week. Hopefully, that is done or close to done this upcoming week. That's the plan. And then from there, we'll do plumbing and electric. I'll move my equipment in, and that'll be done on that side of things. You know, Wishful thinking tells me that'll be squared away in the next 14 days. And then from there, it's just about getting certificate of occupancy and final health approval, but we will see. Same thing with the money. When I talked about at the beginning of the episode, beginning of the live, unexpected expenses. Make sure you probably have at least 50%, maybe even double what you're expecting to spend on stuff to get open. You can account for the same thing when it comes to time. Time and money are interchangeable. And if you think it's going to take, 30 days to get your operation going, I would go ahead and account for it being 60 days, right? Or 90 days. Stuff doesn't always move as fast as you want to. What else we got, guys? What else do we have going on? I'm gonna wrap this thing up at 9:30, so I got about 5 minutes, 6 minutes. What else you guys got? It's just been hard to tell until recently because after he visited, the article came out. It's been the slow season, but meeting Daniel was awesome. He was a really nice dude. Invited me to hang out and chat while he ate. That's cool. Yeah, man. I just, once we get, and I don't even want him to come until while we're in the pop up. To be honest, I want to make sure that we're open, rocking and rolling. I got some help. These things are good right now. The food quality is great, but there's a difference between holding the food in my big commercial food warmer and then holding it in hot boxes outside under a tent. There's a difference. I'm using stock pots of boiling hot water to really make sure that those boxes stay as hot as they need to keep the food as hot. Every couple hours, switch it out. So I really, like I said, the food quality's been good. I haven't had any complaints. Everything's been great. But I really want to get into the building and get operations perfect before he comes. That way I can put my best foot forward and we really have a chance to do something. Uncle T's Barbecue, you care to show how much you spent on your 250 gallon? I went out of state to get my 330 done, custom built from a not known guy. Paid $6,700 for mine, wood storage and warming box. So I went through PRM Barbecue Co. in Berkshire, Texas. They're right outside of Houston, Katy area, Richmond area. It is a fully insulated firebox. If you haven't seen their smokers, go check them out. PRM Barbecue Co. If you end up ordering from them or chatting with them, let them know Kirby's Barbecue sent you. Uh, I opted for the gloss black paint, so everything's painted. It's painted gloss black paint. That was a $975 option, which is kind of pricey, but I I like the just kind of plain look without the paint, but this I could be totally off base, but I think the clear coat, the gloss black, I think it's just gonna make it last longer as far as rusting and things like that. I think it's just a cooler look. My plan was eventually when I get big enough and have to get 500s and 1,000 gallon smokers to put that 250 in the backyard. So I wanted it to look really really nice, and I paid $7,000 for it. Is what I paid for it, but the quality of their work is just top notch, man. It's really good. I guess the guy's still fairly new in the game. I can't remember exactly how long he's been selling kind of to commercial places, but the quality is ridiculous. One of their smokers was actually in a Ford commercial. Actually, over the last year or so, they built 1,000 gallon in one weekend for this Ford commercial, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so I went with them. He's a pretty cool guy. Bruni's Barbecue, have a good night, man. Uncle T said not insulated though. It's on a trailer, pretty fair. Just wondering what y'all pay out there. Yeah, for a reputable builder, I would say for a 250, you're gonna pay about what I paid, 6,500 to $7 grand for a 250. You know, the 500 was going to be about 10 grand, and I wanted to go with that, but to be honest, for the amount of space that I have available to me and the budget I was trying to stay in, the 250 was the right move for me at this time. Most people wanted 8 to 10 for what I wanted. Yeah, that's about right. Space City said I almost bought PRM. Okay. Brisket Daddy, yeah, holding my food from a Friday cook to Saturday serve time. A few of my briskets were drier than I wanted them to be. What are your suggestions to keep that brisket held for pop-up? That's tough, man. When I was doing pop-ups like you are, I wasn't doing that long of a hold time. The longest hold time I did was 12 hours. And I was using which I don't recommend this, but I was using a Vivor electric food warmer. It was a countertop electric food warmer. As soon as a little bit of grease and water got into the components, that thing short circuited. I went through two of them. They were like $400 each. I wouldn't recommend that. I would honestly, I would recommend getting an actual full electric food warmer, commercial food insulated food warmer. I think I paid for mine. I got mine at A Smart through A Smart, and it is a Gusto. The brand is Gusto, and I think I paid $1,200 for it. It was the best $1,200 I ever spent, because now I know you weren't here earlier in the stream and you're going to rewatch it, but I hold my briskets for 18 hours, and I use a butcher paper and foil combination. I use the butcher. I have the foil down on the table first, then the butcher paper. I put the tallow on the butcher paper, place the brisket on there, and then wrap it up nice and tight. The reason I do that, and I hold it for 18 hours in that commercial food warmer between 150 and 160 degrees. The reason I do that is the butcher paper allows the bark to stay intact, okay? But the foil allows for the heat to stay inside of it, and that tallow just gets absorbed by the brisket, and it's very juicy. Like when I cut into it, juices are dripping out. You guys have seen the photos I have on my Instagram and the videos. There's no dry brisket at Kirby's Barbecue, even with the 18-hour hot hold using the insulated food warmer. I would find a way or save up to get a Gusto $1,200 food warmer. There's much more expensive ones out there. I don't really think that's necessary, but I would do that. If you're not going to, then maybe a Yeti cooler, maybe, is what I'd suggest. Logan said, got a Galindo smoker. Instead, he's from East Houston and went to school with me. Apparently, he's been in the making of pits for 10 years. Ships all around the USA. I'm getting into the next month I'm getting it in the next month. So excited. Okay, bet. Yeah, I looked into Galiendo. Um, I like aesthetically, I liked the PRM pits better, and I kind of developed a good relationship with Paul, the owner there, through kind of messages and phone calls. And I went out there and checked out his shop, and I kind of built a relationship with him. I really like their pits aesthetically and quality wise, and so I decided to go with them. I didn't really like the Galiendo pits. Not that they're not good. I'm sure they cook great. I just aesthetically the PRM was a better fit for me. You spent 16K for a 500 gallon with direct heat smoker on the opposite side, custom table wood storage on white wall tires. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Locals Barbecue, love the channel. Currently having my 1,000 gallon pit built Syntex style without the price tag. Looking forward to a bigger pit for my barbecue pop up. Hoping to be in a storefront by the end of the year. That's big news, man. That's big news. Much love from South Georgia. Shout out to South Georgia. 1,000 gallon pit. Okay. All right. Y'all got money. 16,000 for a 500 gallon. $1,000 pit in South Georgia. Y'all got more money than me, man. Y'all got more money than me. Uncle T's locals. I got my smoker from Macon, Georgia Southern Grind Fabrication. Okay. Before you cook your brisket, it's advised to have them at room temperature before you put them on a smoker. What temperature is room temperature for brisket? I've heard that. Brisket Daddy, I've heard that. Do I follow that advice? Absolutely not. At 5:30 in the morning, that brisket comes out of the refrigerator along with my other proteins. I spritz them with warm water as a binder. I season them up, and then they go right on the pit as soon as they're seasoned. By 6 a.m., they're on the pit. I don't really care what temperature they're at. I start them low and slow at about 225. Actually, sometimes it's lower than that because the pit's not up to temp yet. Sometimes it's at 150 degrees with the target temperature of 225 for a couple hours, and then I bump it up to 275. I don't worry about what temperature it is when it goes on the smoker. I will say, cooking it between 150 and 200 for the first hour or so does allow that brisket to come up to room temperature very slowly. And then by the time I crank the heat up to 275, it's gradually increasing enough in temperature, and I think it comes out really, really good. Locals Barbecue, 5K for 1,000 gallon. A friend of mine builds 5 minutes down the road. Shoot. You should have hit me up, man. 5K for 1,000 gallon. I'll take one of those. Shoot me a message on Instagram, man. Maybe in the future I might have to look into that. I wonder how the quality is though. 5K for 1,000 gallon. You're not getting that around here. My 250 was $7,000. Logan said I had a really good November last year. Needed to spend some money. I hear you. LOL. Kirby said Mukon. It's pronounced Maycoon. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I didn't had a couple whiskeys, smoking a cigar. My apologies. Macon. Locals Barbecue. Kirby, when will the restaurant be open for business? The goal is May. At some point in May is when we will be opening the restaurant. Hopefully, yeah, May. I'm thinking May. Because, let's see, we're in March is pretty much done. We got one more week in March. April, me and my wife are closing on a house. And I think, you guys know my contractor situation for the smoke shack. And then we got to finalize permits. So could we be open sooner than May? It's possible, but not probable. Between the contractor situation and finishing permitting. We got a fire code permit last week, which is good. So fire marshal just has to come do a final inspection. Health needs to do a final inspection, but before that happens, the smoke shack needs to be finished. So we've got one more week left in March, 4 weeks in April, so 5 weeks. I'm thinking 5 to 6 weeks, 7, 8 weeks, around there. I think we can be open. Enjoy the stream, man. Hope there's more. Really enjoyed it. Good deal. Uncle T's Barbecue. I'm so happy you were in here, man. Appreciate you commenting and everything like that, and keeping the conversation going. You have a good night, man. But I think I'm gonna call it a night as well. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Thank you guys so much. Had a lot of fun tonight. Hope you guys learned some things. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Y'all have fun.